Hey everyone, JP Outdoors here. Kind of wanted to show you guys today what I'm using for my cook kit, kind of go over some of the basics of what you need, kind of give you guys an idea what, dependent on your area and what your needs are, that you might want to look at. First things first, I want to talk about something that's kind of important related to cook kits, which is fire safety, and that being in certain areas such as Texas, we have burn bans, and so you have to take that into effect. You can't always have, a little wood fire like we always, see in all the camping pictures. Certain times of year down here, you need to be looking at different things such as little MSR stoves, jet boils, alcohol stoves, things like that. Where it's just too hot, too dry to be able to have a flame that has embers that could catch something on fire. Whereas places like up north, Ohio, Indiana, West Virginia, you can have a fire almost year round. Yeah, you need to obviously have your standard fire, your fire safety things in mind, clear brush, clear things like that, but you don't have some of the same risks as you do in a more drier environment. Also, in choosing a cook stove, you need to take things into consideration such as your altitude and weather condition. If you live in a really windy environment, you need to make sure that your stove has some sort of windscreen that goes around it. If you live in a higher altitude, you need to be using something a little bit more than alcohol stove. You might need to look at an MSR or jet boil, something that's designed to produce a lot of heat very fast and keep it at a high temperature so that it keeps it's able to steep and cook that item a lot faster and a lot easier at a higher altitude. So all those things said, I like to travel light. I like to be able to move very easily. So I went with a alcohol stove. I made this. Made it out of a couple of Arizona cans. I like the Arizonas. Bigger than the regular soda cans. You can use regular soda cans, and you can also use like small energy drink cans. The biggest factor in these is you need to look at what your needs for a cook stove are versus what you like and the designs you like. There's a million different designs out there. Myself, I wanted something that was a little bit more flexible, and something that I could easily make and or replace very easily. So I went with this design. It does have a sleeved wall, open middle, and it has the burn holes around the outside. This burns very efficiently. I boiled an entire 20 ounces of water with about an ounce and a half of alcohol in 7 minutes. For me, that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. I don't mind sitting down for 7 minutes waiting on something to boil. So I carry my alcohol in just a little kind of heavy duty Nalgene bottle. I'm working on getting the stickers, the don't drink stickers. For now, I just put alcohol on the side of the container. So when choosing an alcohol container, you can use things like a water bottle or things like that. But if you're traveling with children, you want to make sure that it's going to be in something that has a strong lid, that doesn't drip, and that's easily recognizable that you should not drink this. Other than the smell, this is isopropyl alcohol in here. I have used distilled spirits and denatured alcohol. Those work the best. You can also get camp fuel. You can get denatured alcohol at Home Depot. I think you can get an entire pint can or a gallon can of it for I think like $17. Or you can go to the dollar store and get a big bottle of isopropyl alcohol for 99 cents. They're fairly decent price, and you can get them readily available, gas stations, things like that. I do carry just a little Bic lighter. Little trick I've learned is after you put your alcohol in, kind of swirl it around a little. And what I do is I kind of tip it and let it ride up the inner rim right here a little, so that when I go to light this, I'm, kind of tipping the flame in, and it's lighting those vapors closer to the top, and it's a little easier to light than trying to light it down in. Now, with a stove like this, you can't put your cook pot directly on top of it because it will snuff out the flame. So you need some sort of stand. This is one I'm currently was toying with. It doesn't work that well. I'm actually working on a better design. But something that you can put your cook pot on top of. Now the magic distance you want to keep from the flame to the cook pot is about 1 inch. That is the calculated measured area that the heat is optimally displaced across the surface of the cook pot, and it works the best. So next, I'm going to be going over my cook pot. I use the Stanley 20-ounce stainless steel cook pot with the locking bail handle. It does have a graduate measure on the side. I don't know how well you can see that because of the, there you go. The measurement is reflected on the inside right here. It is reflected. It's pretty hardy construction. It doesn't really bend. It stays pretty strong. It does have a locking bail handle. You'll just squeeze down and fold over. And then when it locks in place, you can push this down and it actually locks that handle out and makes it quite strong. The handle gets a little warm when you're using, but it's not bad. This does fill up 20 ounces, or takes 20 ounces of water. You can go a little over. It has a stainless steel lid with ventilation holes so that when you're boiling, it doesn't, pop off your lid. But you can also use this to make char cloth. You can put the lid on. You can put your cotton cloth inside. You've got your vent holes. You can fold over your bail, and you can stick this down in a fire, and you could be making your char cloth. So that works pretty good. The lid has a thermoplastic molded toggle. This gets actually pretty warm. After this wears out, I may see about putting some sort of wire bail or something in there. It does have a little plastic tab in there so you can keep it kind of stood up when you're cooking. Something kind of cool about the Stanley, it does come with two 10-ounce insulated cups, which are kind of nice. If you want to make drip coffee in the morning or instant, you can make them in these, and it's a nice insulated cup, keeps it warm. It doesn't have a lid. It does have a measure line. You won't be able to see it on camera, but you can hear my fingernail clicking past it. That is your 10-ounce measurement. So if you're trying to cook something in your pot and you want only 10 ounces of water or whatever, you can use these to measure. Myself personally, I only use these to heat up water and or smaller things. I'm not trying to cook a big extravagant meal. I mostly stick to dehydrated meals, but these do work very well. They get a little charred up on the bottom. I forgot to take the sticker off the bottom of this one before I used it, so it made a little extra soot. But the good thing about using something like this coupled with an alcohol stove is you're not putting off any smoke. You can use this, if you need to snuff out your alcohol stove, you can just hold it right on top and it snuffs it out. The downside to this is it has this kind of rolled edge right here. So if you don't get it kind of set down flat right away, it will kind of try and, you can see it there, kind of trying to tip over. So that's something to take into consideration. It doesn't actually sit very well on my wireframe I was working on right here. It actually does not sit very well on this. I have to kind of make sure I get everything just right. So I'm going to be working on a different frame so that I can use this, and eventually probably looking at upgrading that pot when this wears out. So another good thing I like about this, so I only carry 1 cup when I'm on the trail. This kind of goes back to why I chose the cook stove that I did too. You put your cup in there, it nests right inside, both stack into each other, and you can put the lid on it, it holds everything in place. For me, what I do is I've got my little cook stove, put my bottle of alcohol in there, my lighter, and I put a little dish rag in there to kind of keep everything quiet, keep it from rattling around too much. I put my lid on. And my cook kit's good to go. Nice and quiet, doesn't rattle too much. Nests nice together, nice and tight, works nice and good. A good thing to kind of always keep around, I keep a little washcloth I've had for years. You can keep a little cloth, you can, cut up an old shirt and have the ends seam together or whatever. Just having a little rag, you need to grab a pot or whatever, that little break can give your hands, keep you from burning your hands. And it's also really nice to clean out the pot at the end of the use. So next, we're going to go into eating utensils and eating vessels. First things first, we'll go over the C2 Summit X Bowl. Just recently got this product. I've done some initial testing with it. So far it has worked pretty well. It is a 1150 milliliters or 38 fluid ounce bowl. This is the larger of the bowls. It does collapse down to a little less than 1/4 of an inch. It does collapse very easy. It has a hard shell bottom. My initial thoughts on this were, if you drop it, your bowl's gonna fall down. And this one kind of does. I'm looking at maybe a few others, but this was very cheap, very easy. I like collapsible bowls from on the trail because they pack away very easy. You're not worrying about carrying a whole bowl set up. They're super easy to clean. This is BPA free, so you don't have to worry about things like that. Obviously you can't boil water in this, but you can put boiling water in it. So something to take into consideration. So next we're going to be going over the C2 Summit Spork, and this is the long version. So I went with the long version versus things like the little stubby one or the collapsibles or even the CRKT eating tool, as they call it. The reason I went with the longer is if I'm cooking something in my cook pot, I want to be able to stir it. If I'm eating something out of a bag, or I'm trying to get the stuff that's out of the bottom of the bag, into my bowl or whatever, I can get back there with the spork. I don't have to try and cut the bag, further down and maybe make a mess, or dull my knife, dull my work knife, my kitchen knife, dull that down so that, it doesn't work. This is, I believe it's either titanium or reinforced aluminum. This thing is super light. I mean, it is just unbelievable light. It's very strong. I mean, I'm putting a fair amount of force on that, and it's flexing, but it's not bending. It does have your tines on the front for the spork. Has a decent sized spoon. It does come with a D-ring. I didn't like it. I don't like it rattling around. I don't like a lot of things that rattle around when I'm hiking. So I just put a little piece of paracord on there so I can kind of hang it in the bag. Something something that I find if I'm hiking with inexperienced people, that a lot of people forget and they just blank out is eating utensils. And you can improvise an eating vessel with a camp pot or a good sized cup, but it's kind of hard to eat something that's hot with your fingers. So what I've always done is if I'm camping or hiking with someone new, I'll throw a little flatware pack in my bag. Just keep it with me. They work really well. They got a napkin. They got your utensils, and a lot of them come with a little salt and pepper. You get them for free when you stop to get some fast food on the way out and go camping or whatever. It's a good little backpack or backup to your normal eating utensils, and or if you're camping with someone inexperienced, throw it in, weighs next to nothing, pack it out, and you're done. You can clean the plastic cookware or the plastic flatware, and it works real nice. So the last kind of two things I want to go over are cleanup. So there's been kind of a thing going on. I remember when camp suds kind of came on the scene, they were all the rage, they're great for the environment, Well, now we're finding out 10, 15 years later, ooh, yeah, they're actually not as good as we thought. So I wanted to kind of go over something that's been around for a really long time. It's tried and true, tested. It's a really versatile cleaning product, and it's I personally, I think it's one of the best cleaning products on the market. It is the Dr. Bronners 18-in-1 castor oil soap. So this is, you can get this in multiple different sizes. You can get it in a bar, in different amounts. So few drops of this goes a really long way. Reason they say it's 18-in-1, you can wash your clothes in this, you can wash your body, you can wash your hair, you can wash the dog, you can wash your cooking utensils, you can wash your hands. It sterilizes, it's not sterilized to say like Cavicide or something like that, but it does kill germs, keeps you safe. It is 100% natural. It does not have detergents, things like that in there. No extra foaming agents. It does foam up when you do wash your hands a little. It does foam up, even without water. A lot of times when I'm, if I gotta use the restroom or in the woods or whatever, I'll take some of that, squirt it on my hands, kind of rub it around, and then I'll just take a little bit of water, dribble it on my hands, and I'm good to go. It doesn't leave a soapy residue. It is certified non-GMO, Fair for Life, OTCO, and a few others. Very hard to read on this small bottle. But this stuff, you can get it in different scents. I think this one is the peppermint. Yeah, this is peppermint. They have unscented versions for guys that are on hunting trips. This is just great stuff. It works really well. It cuts through grease and grime too. If you cook something kind of greasy in your cook pot, add a couple extra drops in, it goes right away. So I carry a little rag. I find them kind of multi-use. I know a couple people that carry a little hunk of Choboy or Brillo pad, used Brillo pad that doesn't have any soap left in it or something like that. Me, I've never had anything more than needing a rag. It's good, versatile. You can use it for, using it as a pot holder. You can use it to, wipe your lips, and you can use it to wash at the end. Hang it up on a branch, hang it up on a piece of paracord, and you're good to go. Another thing a lot of people carry, I actually don't. I just use a hunk of paracord. A lot of people will carry a little net sack, kind of hang everything off a branch or off a log or whatever so that it can air dry, I just hang it up. I just put a piece of paracord through there, you know, obviously when it's not full, and just kind of hang that on there with it. It dries out nice and works just perfect. I am working on finding a bag that I can put all of my cooking utensils and fire stove in. That way, you know, it's all in one centralized location. But again, remember, when you're packing away your camp stove, in your pack you want it readily accessible. However, you want it more centered toward the upper middle spine of your pack, so that that weight is in a good location. You don't want it off to one side or whatever. I mean, this weighs about as much as with everything in here, this weighs about as much as a 20-ounce soda. And I mean, I can cook quite well with this. Like I said, I use mostly dehydrated meals, so just want to let you guys know. Also, along with that, as far as the water vessel, when I'm sitting in camp, I'm usually have an Nalgene bottle with me. I like being able to measure my water, or if I'm taking in an electrolyte drink. There's multiple different ones out there. I like to be able to use one of these. I'm looking at a different cap that has a smaller spout on top that still has the large screw top to be able to, you know, put ice or put freshly filtered water in here. So just kind of wanted to go over that. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully I didn't make it too long. Hopefully I brought up some good points to you. And stay safe and enjoy the outdoors, and I'll see you on the trail.